The cave was still open when I arrived. That's the part I can't stop thinking about. That for a few hours on the morning of November 24th, 2009, Nutty Putty Cave still had an entrance. Still had air moving through it. Still felt like a place a person could walk into and walk back out of. It doesn't anymore. I was part of the team that drove out to Utah County that night. I'm not a paramedic. I'm not a caver, not officially. I was a volunteer with basic first aid training and a headlamp, and someone made a call down a list and my name was on it. That's all it takes sometimes. That's all it takes for a night to become the kind of thing you describe to people in small, careful pieces years later when you've decided you can talk about it without falling apart. Before that afternoon, Nutty Putty Cave was the kind of place suburban cavers took their kids on weekends. It wasn't extreme. It was the kind of place people called fun and playful and a little tight, but totally doable. The passages had names like the birth canal and the big slide. People photographed themselves squeezed into narrow squeezes and posted the pictures online and made it sound like a challenge with a prize. John Jones was 26 years old. He was a medical student. His wife was pregnant with their second child. He had gone into the cave that afternoon with his brother and a group of friends. A family outing, the kind people take every weekend at Nutty Putty. The cave had a reputation for being manageable. Tight in places, yes. A little disorienting, but navigable. Playful, even. People called the passages things like the birth canal and the big slide because that's how manageable it felt. John was looking for the birth canal when he took the wrong turn. He crawled into a passage he did not recognize. The passage narrowed. He kept going because cavers keep going. The next section always looks like it opens up, and the instinct is to push forward rather than retreat. By the time he understood what was happening, he had already slid past the point where his body could reverse. The fissure was 10 inches wide and 18 inches across. He was upside down, head first, wedged at a steep angle with his arms pinned beneath him, his chest compressed by rock on both sides, his feet somewhere above him in the dark. He could not turn. He could not push. He could barely breathe. His brother Josh found him missing. Josh got out. He got help. And within the hour, the rescue operation that would consume the next 27 hours of everyone's life, including John's, had begun. When we first arrived, there was still a sense that this was going to be a standard extraction. That's what we're trained to think in the first hour. That's what you tell people to keep them calm. You say things like, "We're going to get him out, and he's strong," and "Cavers have been pulled from worse situations." I remember saying those exact words to his brother. I remember watching his face try to believe them. I want to tell you that when I got there, it felt organized. That's what I want to say. The truth is that it felt like standing outside a building that was actively on fire while holding a garden hose. More than 100 rescuers came before the night was over. Caving experts, engineers, paramedics, volunteers from counties I'd never heard of. The cave is not large, and it was never designed to hold that many people moving through it in the dark. And every person we sent in made the air thicker and the temperature higher and the whole thing more desperate. The people closest to John fed him an IV line. They passed food through the gap. Someone got a police radio down to him, and he talked to his wife, his pregnant wife, sitting somewhere above the surface of the earth, listening to her husband's voice come out of a radio from 400 feet underground at an angle that was slowly killing him. There is nothing I can say about that conversation that would not be a violation of something private and enormous. I will only tell you that he spoke to her, that she spoke to him. For a few of those hours, there was real hope, and she could hear it in his voice. The rope and pulley system was the closest we came. Someone had engineered a system of anchors and mechanical advantage, threading rope through the passage to his ankles. His ankles were the only part of him you could reach from the outside. And for a period of time that felt longer than it worked. He was moving, upward. The compression on his chest was releasing. People were talking about the next 10 minutes like they were already on the other side of this thing, already driving home, already believing it. Then the equipment failed. The system dropped him, back into the hole, back to the same position, the same angle, the same darkness, except now his body had been under mechanical strain for hours on top of the inversion, and the rope had torn something in the structure that had been holding him up, and the crevice was slightly worse than before. I remember someone saying, not loudly, not dramatically, just saying it, the way you say something when you need to think out loud. We have to go back to the beginning. Nobody moved for a moment. You don't fully understand how small a 10 by 18-inch fissure is until you're standing near it with 100 other people who have each tried something that didn't work. And you realize the only part of the person you love that is accessible to you is his ankles, and his ankles are going cold. The shift happened after that. The same shift happens in every rescue where the numbers stop working. You start talking about survival in 10-minute increments. You stop talking about getting him out by morning and start talking about whether the next attempt will kill him before it kills you. The people who had been pulling ropes started talking in whispers. The radio stopped talking about physics and started talking about time. They tried lubricant. They tried repositioning the anchor points. They tried sending in a smaller caver to create leverage from a different angle. They squeezed a ball between John's forehead and the cave wall so he could push with his head while someone pulled from above. They tried everything that physics and anatomy and desperation allowed in a space where there was almost no room to try anything at all. Blood had been pooling in his head and chest since the moment he fell. That is what happens when a human body is held at a steep downward angle for hours. Blood pressure in the skull rises, the heart strains against gravity to keep circulation moving, and eventually the body's ability to compensate simply runs out. It has nothing to do with courage or will. It is physics. It is the same physics that makes the Earth hold everything down toward its center. The cave was holding him the same way the Earth holds everything. At some point, I do not know exactly when, because time had stopped meaning what it normally means, the radio transmissions from inside the cave changed in tone. Not the words, the tone. The people closest to him were not reporting progress anymore. They were reporting stillness. There was a moment when Josh, his brother, asked if they could at least talk to him again. The answer was yes. The answer was no. The answer was complicated. And the answer was that John was still conscious, but barely. And the last thing anyone wanted was to make him hear his family one more time while he was trapped like that, upside down, in the dark, with no way out. John Jones was pronounced dead at 11:56 p.m. on November 25th, 2009. He died just before Thanksgiving. His wife was above the ground. His brother was above the ground. Over 100 people who had spent the last day of their lives trying to free him were above the ground, and he was below it, and he was going to stay that way. The decision was made within days. The family agreed, the landowner agreed, the agencies agreed. Retrieving the body was too dangerous. Not hypothetically dangerous, not bureaucratically dangerous, but actually, physically, certifiably too dangerous for any person to attempt. The cave had already been damaged by the rescue effort. The passage where he lay was unstable. Any further attempt would kill someone else. They sealed it with explosives first, collapsed the ceiling of the passage near where his body was to prevent any possibility of access. Then they filled every entrance with concrete, every opening, Every point where the outside world could communicate with the inside one, sealed, permanently. The cave was closed forever. The land was leased in perpetuity. No one would ever go back in. There is a memorial plaque at the site now. People visit it. I have never gone back. I have never been able to explain fully why. It's not guilt. I did what I could do, which was not much. It's not grief in the traditional sense, because I didn't know him. I think it's the specific quality of the ending that I can't reconcile. Most deaths have a kind of closure that comes from the body being returned to the world. A service, a burial, a place that exists and can be visited and can be left. John's death doesn't have that. His body is inside a mountain that has been deliberately made impenetrable. The rock above him has collapsed. The concrete above that has set. He is in a position, that specific, terrible position, upside down, arms pinned, that no one will ever see or document or verify, has changed. He is 26 years old, somewhere in that dark, in that posture, right now. The cave is not going anywhere. The mountain is not going anywhere. The state of Utah has made sure that no one will open it again. His wife had their baby. His brother grew older. The 100 people who came with their headlamps and their pulleys and their desperate, failing expertise, they all went home and became people who carry this. And somewhere below the scrubland of Utah County, in the total absence of light or sound, or any acknowledgement that time is passing at all, in a space that has been sealed so completely that even the air inside will eventually run out and something inside that space will change forever, he is still there, still upside down, still in the dark, still waiting for a rescue that will never come. This has been Whisper Dread Studios. Some stories were never meant to be told, but we told them anyway.